Hey, what's up? This is Ian, a senior student in computer science major at Southern Utah University. In this video, I'm going to talk about a simple 3D game that I created on my own. 3 months ago, at the beginning of this semester, I chose to make a 3D game for my capstone project. I played a lot of video games before, like League of Legends, Apex, Rainbow Six Siege, but I could never understand how they actually work in the background, and it will be really cool if I dig into it and create my own virtual world and control my own character in there. So let's start from the game. This is my game configuration window, and this is my game name, and I can't remember why I chose this, but it looks cool to me. And these are the graphics settings. We can choose screen resolution. Mm, since the window is checked, so I won't be able to select the full screen. If I uncheck it, I can select this resolution. Stay with windowed. Graphics set graphic quality. Stay with the highest. Left side monitor. Play. So right now the game is loaded, and you can hear the background music. So for movement, running and jump, roll and crouch and walk. And lock direction. So here's the difference. Once I lock the screen or the direction, so the character will only like face to that direction instead of turning around. Press it again to unlock, and the camera rotation was controlled by my mouse, and the movements are controlled by my keyboard. I do believe they can also be controlled by controllers, but I'm not going to test it right now. So basic attack, if I press my left button once, twice, sorry, that was like 3 times, twice, will stop, and 3 times in a row. You can hear the like the character waving the katana. That's the action that will be performed once I'm hitting an object with the third attack. If I hit it on the rock, it will be able to see a like tiny sparkle like on the surface of the block. And the character will stop her animation immediately. Let's get to the enemy. The scene, the terrain, and this like winter forest was built like by myself. I built the terrain from scratch. I like set the height for I paint the height and I create those gaps and paint the texture on it, so you will be able to see those details on the ground. So these are the pure snow, and these are like ground with different textures. Those bushes and the trees and those fences and fence and those rocks, I place them one by one from the prefab and resize them and reposition. So you can see there's like I spent like 2 weeks. I think it was 2 weeks to get this terrain built. And here's like light effects, and the snow and the fog. The light effects, I did this by the function. It was called, I think, post-processing Unity game engine, and I will talk about that later. So that's our enemy. He won't be able to like take any actions unless I like attack him first. Oh, he's rolling, so he's blocking. So this is like block action. If he's like doing this action and I attack him, you can hear sound of katana hitting a katana. If I attack him while he's like blocking, he will only take like 30% of the total damage. You can hear the like sound effect if I hit him with my katana. Now he's attacking me. Okay. This action. If his heals is like goes to 0, he won't be able to like attack me again. So this is the game, and all these are basic functions: movements, attack, block, and heals, drop heals. For the game optimization on the graphics, I spent like I spent 3 or 4 days to improve these like graphic settings. The first time I run this game, after I finished my terrain, after I like add these light effects, these trees, this ground, like these bushes, the FPS, frames per second, at this point, like exact the same point when I'm facing this direction, it can't go under 40 frames per second. It was really like unable to play on the PC. But after I like using AirOD groups on those like objectives to create the fading and the coloring, like depends on the distance between the character and the object. For example, you can see the leftmost tree in that like island. If I goes further and further, it will disappear. The point is, if the object is like far enough from the character, the video card are not necessary to draw this, so it will save a lot of like works and improves the game performance. So right now I believe at this point I can hit 100. I can hit like over 100 frame per second, which is like more than like twice than before. I was using for the processor, I'm using Intel i7 80, 8700K, I believe, and the video card is 1070 Ti. So I think this is pretty much a playable FPS for for a 3D game with this much details and text and the highest settings. And for the game UI, you can look the left up corner. The red one is my health bar, and the orange one is stamina. So if I run, jump, basic attack, and roll, it will cost the stamina. If I stand still for like 1 second, it will like recover automatically. I can change the like recovering speed and like how much it recovers for like each second. And ground boundary, game boundary. That's what I call it like air walls. Sorry. So you won't be able to jump off the map. So for this one, it's quite simple. You just need to create some invisible objectives with mesh colliders, so they kind of collide with your character to create a wall, but you are like not you're not able to see it, so it won't bounce off. So the character won't be able to jump off the map. So that's the enemy. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the gameplay. And for more, oh, one more thing. This time I've spent on this project, and for the first day, I was like expecting 150 hours total for this project, but goes when I get deeper in it, after I like understand what I need to do to get a complete project, I like I was like, God, I can't even like achieve this within like 150 hours. For now, the time I cost was like above 320 hours. I do have other courses that I'm taking for this semester, so it's really like I was spending I, sp- I was spending most of the time, my free time, on this game project. So here's here's the thing that I can get from nothing to like this like playable game. When I started this project, I know like literally nothing about game creation. It's my first time to download the engine and download these modeling tools and start from scratch. Yeah, that's the game itself. I do believe I have achieved most of the game objectives for my project contract. Or game effects, attack effects. So watch out the little tiny sparkles. And yeah, that's for the game. So let's get to the creation progress. So let's create the file here. When I started to create this project, the first thing came to me was the game engine. There were there are two game engines on Unreal and Unity, I believe. These these two are the most popular ones in the market. They're both free for like personal users or like students. I chose Unity because it looks like easier for me. And what's the next step? To learn, I was like learning how to use Unity. Yeah, that was the things that I was doing for the first couple, first week after I started my project. And what's next? I think about. Oh, I did create like a few, 2 or 3 other like game scenes, game projects for Unity for testing. I did create like 2 or 3 game terrains to test like how the engine actually works. When I got like familiar with that, I went to went for like terrain building to build, and that's pretty much like downloading, like select assets. Before that, I do need to think about do you need to think about came up with this idea, like what kind of terrain or what kind of like game scene that I want to place my character in there. Think about the if I to create. So I was I was playing a game called like Sekiro. Sekiro, it's a like really awesome game made by Capstone. Wait, what is it called? I can't remember its name, but it was a really cool like it was a really cool like game made by a Japanese company, Sekiro Shadow Die Twice. I bought that on Steam and I played it for like couple hours. I was shocked by its effect. I've heard this game was made for like 8 years ago to get completed. It was really awesome with those effects. So I was thinking like if I can create a similar or not similar but close close scene with the same like weather or like snow, forest, and ancient ancient like buildings, things like that. But but at the end I decided to create a like a forest with a lake. So when I after I came up with the idea, I created my terrain. That terrain is what you have seen in my game. And here, after I have done that, I need to make a brick line. So under this line, that's where things goes like crazy. This could this has to be character creation. I give I gave it this title. If I didn't select this project to make an actual game, if I select to create my own like character, a 3D character, that would be and the The project requirements was for 80 hours for this project at least. I do believe if I only select create character creation, it would be like hit more than 150 hours to achieve this like project. What it means is like if I separated it apart, it could be another capstone project. So I didn't understand like how much steps and how complex this thing is, and I when I get more understanding in it, gonna get more understand on it, I like regret. I was regret like really regretful for like getting like writing this down in my contract, but there was a chance to like change my contract, so I changed this one to I changed this to like create my I changed my I changed create my own character into like using an exist character from online, but I didn't finish this one because it was I got messed up in the last few steps. I do believe was after retopology. So okay, I'll go through this like step by step. When I get my first step for character creation was to like build basic model mesh. I have screenshots for my body mesh, and the tool I'm using here is Maya, and this is the tool. This is a really powerful tool that even like the game industry and the movie industry is like using. And there's another from the same company, it's 3ds Max. It's like they're kind of similar, but different companies are choose like different ones. I spent like 2 weeks. I spent 2 weeks to learn. I spent 2 weeks to learn how to use this tool. This this tool has like hundreds of menus and like buttons. You can see those they are like for different functionalities. Here's animations, and this part is for animations, and these are for modeling. They have like poly modeling, sculpting, rigging. Rigging is for like for they're like similar to the bones to create bones for our models, so they can actually be like dragged and like rotated in the animation like section. So for the rendering, you need to render the lights on the car on the model. You have to render like a complete scene, and these are the Arnold renderer. The like it's more like adding from the from other developers. Mm, yeah, it took me 2 months to learn this tool for basic modeling. This model, like I downloaded from a website, and I changed the shape on the face so that it looks like more detailed. Those are the verticals. If you hit if you like select the verticals, you can select like each edge, face, and the verticals on the model, and you can edit like one by one. Edit them one by one. You can move, drag, or like scale up, or like make them larger or smaller. It depends on like the way you want. So yeah, I download the model from the website for a human body, and I change its face to add more detail on it. When I complete that, I got body. This is body, and I got a hair on him. A body with the hair, and with textures. And in this picture, I put it in, like I exported that from Maya, like a complete export the basic mesh to empty for clothing. This is a really powerful tool, marvelous designer, like this one. This is a really powerful tool for fabric creation and editing. So I do believe this software was created from Korea, and once I was done, it's a picture that I created clothes for my character. But this guy is the basic avatar from this software, and I have to re-import the fabrics into my own character, and this is how it looks like. I added some textures just for testing, but it won't like come together with the fabrics, come with the clothes together. When I export it, it was like it goes back to like everything was gray. Sorry. Once I have done that, I move this thing. Oh, you can see he has no feet, so I created a feet for him. Also in Maya, it was like make a square and change shape, add shapes, and these are the tubes, and I have to reshape them to make and make use the mirror like functionality to create the same one on the left side. After that, I got a basic, wait, not this one. I got a basic body mesh, and I took that object file into this ZBrush. This ZBrush is also the most popular tool for sculpting. You can sculpt the like hair, ear, brows, and nose. Everything was related to details. You can do it here. I open up my project. So I'll show what it does here. Sorry. So if you want to add more details on the face, you can just drag. Just click your mouse button, drag. So this is how you create details on your character or 3D models, any 3D models. After you have done this, you will get like a like high poly model with tons of details on it. But the problem is that you can see this means the total like points or verts. It's like 500, like more than 500,000 of verts. These models are like good enough for like CG or animations or movies, but it's impossible to import it into a game engine because the game engine can only like handle only be able to handle like low poly faces, low poly face models to make a higher performance. If you turn this into the game, it won't be able to run because your video card will like burned. So that's how you create like details on your clothes or like on the body or the face or hair. There's a lot of videos on this tool, and yeah, it also took me a while to learn how to use this tool. This tool, these tools are like how the how you use them. They're like totally different, but once you got enough time, you'll be able to like get the basic function. You'll be able to understand the basic functionality of the tools, and they're really powerful. So once I have done this, I got a high poly model. Once I have done that, I got a high poly model, and next step is, sorry, I forgot to export body with clothes into the brush for sculpting and detail. Oh, one more thing. Shoe. Choose creation in Maya. And once I have done the brush sculpting, I got high poly model. And what's next? Once I've done the high poly model, next is for retopology. What it does is to build a roundable low poly model for game engine. The detailing here spent me 1 week to learn and work. So retopology. This process is still unavoidable. Like currently, they do have some tools to create like retopology or high poly mesh from like automatically. So this process has to be like done by like it has to be done like step by step. What it I did this in still in Maya. I have screenshots right here. This is like this screenshot. It took this screenshot like 80% down of my retopology. You can see those blue faces. This is tool quadro. I click once I make. You can see the gray one on the background are the high poly model I imported from the brush, and this original high poly has 470,000 faces, and that's impossible to run in the game. So I create these to create this like polyfaces to reduce the faces. This has to be done by step. So I dig the quadro, I make the high poly, I make the high poly model live, and I click this quadro. So I click on the body mesh. It will have 4 points. Then I click shift and click in the middle. It will like form up. It will form like square, a face in the on the surface of the high poly model. So I repeat those like steps for 8,000 times, for thousands of times, I believe. But sometimes you can just copy, you can extend a row of faces and just drag them up, but you need to adjust the positions to make it looks naturally. So that also took me like a while to get this done. Once when it was completed, I do believe it only has 8,000 faces. Compared to this number, it's like a huge reduced amount of faces. This is the process of making the hands. You can see the more variations you have, you need to create like more faces, more detailed on the hands. You really like give me a hard time on those on those time on those like tiny faces. These are hand, backhand. This is the foot. And once it was completed, I can show you in the Maya. It took some time to load. And I'm using Maya 2019 here. For the screenshots, here, this is how it looks like. OpenSea. So you can see if it's loading the Maya binary. So you can see how much like how much function it has for modeling. I was watching like tons of videos on how to do the how to like use this how to use this tool, and there are people like they can actually make make this tool for their career. Click on it, you can select the face and perspective view, left view, right view, back view, perspective view. You can change views and you can edit. This is to select the face. These are the faces created by the Quadro tool. So these are the edges you can select, and you can move them, rotate, and scale. And you can also choose verticals. There's a lot of like YouTube videos on how to like 3D modeling. I think there's a couple that really good for beginners, and really like you need to sit in front of your computer for like couple hours for each day to get a like good understand on it, because this is like this tool has been like years after it was first released, and it was used in a major field for gaming, model building, and like even the movies. Its bars are for actions, animations. So you drag your model to a position, you set a keyframe, and drag to another position, set another keyframe, and once you have done that for hundreds of frames, you play them at the same time. It gets, you get an animation. That's the animation here. Editing tool, sculpting. For sculpting, I still suggest the brush for sculpting. So let's get back to our low poly. This is a low polygon. My character that built from, oh, it has like 9,500 faces, but still much less than the original high poly. This is the complete version of my retopology. I can't remember how much. Wait, 1 or 2 weeks. I can't remember clearly how much time I spent on this. And the next step was supposed to be UV editing. And this is where I screwed up. So my UV editor. The UV editor is like to unfold this 3D model in a 2D platform. So you can see the katana here. It was a 3D model, but it's more like a cylinder. If you want to create a cylinder, if you cut it, you can see if you cut it from the top and the bottom, it will be 2 circles and a square. This is how like UV works, and for this is really important for like texturing. If you want to draw something like details, or or you want to like paint something on it, you have to deal with its UV. But for my it took some time. So let's back to my low poly. Here's my UV. It's really messy, and I don't have time to like rebuild this. It took me like another month, I believe, to finish this thing. So I stopped here, but I can briefly talk about what's the next step of this. So the next thing you wanna do, if you have like more time, or like you're better, like you have you build a better, like much better, you have I don't know how to talk about this. If you like build a good like if you build a good like model, low poly model, and you will be able to see a complete like body UV, and you want to send them to wait for next to for the UV. I do believe you can do like texture. You can draw textures. You can like import those UV maps into Photoshop and draw textures on the UV maps. And once you have done that and re-import to your character will be textured. And you can do this also. You can do this in Substance painter. I think that's how it's called. This is a tool used for texturing. It's a really handy tool, but don't have I don't have like time enough time to get from like retopology to this to learn this tool. And once you have done that, you can go back to Maya and do the rigging, body rigging for bone, bone, binding. To create the bones for your character, like the neck, head, and your shoulder, and arm, and your fingers. So once you have done body rigging, you can go animation. Based on the body rigs you did, you can like edit each like finger. You can you can move your fingers or like rotate your wrist or your like or your leg to create the animation. So that's for the character creation. I do believe if I complete those steps like one by one and learn how to do them, and this is this is part these are the parts I have completed and these are not. If I do complete them, I think you might need like 5 or 6 months. So for the steps I have done, it was nearly like 200 hours for me to learn those tools and build my own tool and get like switch them like back and forth. Sometimes I did make mistakes and I have to like do it the from the backup and the topology. That's where I got. So for next step, importing into game engine. Once I have selected my I've selected my main character and my enemy character from the website, and I imported them to my game engine, which is Unity. Here you can see this I open it up. Game engine here. So import characters and resize. Once I imported my character here, I think they're in this folder. They contain a body mesh and parts on their body, avatar, and these are the hips. They do came with their bones. It's called like rigs. Spine one. So this is the spine. Like this is like the chest. Get upper, left shoulder, neck, right shoulder, and goes under the right shoulder, right arm, right forearm, arm, right hand, and here's the hitbox. Okay, under right hand, I place my place her weapon in there, so it will stick under his parent, which is Red Hat. So the same as my enemy character right here. It was controlled by the animator. This is the animator for the enemy. These are the actions for body. It has attack, big hit reaction, hit recoil, stand up from front, stand up dead. And for the attacks, he has weak attacks and strong attacks. For like weak attacks, it has unarmed attack, which is fist, and sword attack. This is for sword. Sword random attack, katana attack. This is the katana. So he's using a katana. This is the hit action, and if I play it to repeat, these arrows are the conditions with attack. This is the conditions that he has to meet to get from like attack action A to action B, and if the state A has achieved like has nothing, has like empty conditions, it goes to exit. So that's how I did the, like if I press my left mouse button once, it will only attack once, and I press twice in a row, it will like perform an attack combo. And those are controlled by the scripts, which is the language of C sharps. These are the scripts that controls the third person controller. So the Unity is really powerful, and after the character and animation, let's talk about the terrain creation. The terrain was, when I first came, like once you start a new Unity project, this is what you got. Oh, without the Skype, without the song, and it has a directional light and a basic camera and a playing ground. So when I get to terrain creation, this is data and configuration for the terrain. You can set the like detail density, the detail distance, and billboard start. Collider. Collider is to create a mesh on the surface, so that the character will be able to stand on it. Lightning, global illuminating, and this is, you can change those data to resize your terrain, but after you have like detailed it, and you change it, if you could like set it like to 1,000, get larger, the terrain will get stretched. So it's better to like get a good terrain that is good enough for your game. And this is the paint details. This is for bushes. This is for grass, I believe, but I didn't use this one for my grass. This is the tree. These are the prefabs. If I click one and I hit, it will grow like tons of trees, but it looks really weird. And you can change the density, like how much you wanna draw as you click it, like much fewer. Brush size. This is how I place my trees on the terrain, and most of them I think I place them one by one for these trees and those bushes, and even with these grasses. And that's how you place place plants on your terrain. And when you got your when you create your terrain, what you got is a like totally flat terrain ground, and you have to like set the height. You have to set the height, and either you want to create a mountain or like gap. So I could set these places lower to create a lake and this gap here, so I can create a like a wood bridge. You can also change the shape of the your brush. And this is the terrain builder. You can add like side terrains. You can add like terrains that connect to each other, and you can extend it. That's pretty much for the terrain building. For the lights, you can see in my game. We took a while to. So you can see the light effect. There's some like bloom effect and those shadows. These are not like what it was supposed to be because I added the post-processing layer to my camera. You can see how much different it has. This is the original, like how it looks like when like, after I place those trees and paint those like textures on the ground. But once you add this layer, it goes like totally different. So this file was in here. Ambient occlusion is to like add some extra shadowing, and the bloom is like an effect for this like lighting. Vignette is to add like those like dark circle on the edge of the camera. And a motion blur is for like moving your camera. Like color grading is to change the like the temperature of the color on your scene. You can see this is like more like a lateral, since this is this is more like a winter. So I turned my temperature like lower to -13, and this tint setting you can set it higher to make the scene more like pinkish. Higher, it goes more like pink. Set back to default. So this is how scenes changed. This is how you like change your game effects. After all these settings, and yeah, and these stones, they're not like looks like this like originally. The for the stones, these are the stones I wait. These are like rocks I've added like one by one. You can see how much stones I have like drag and dropped from the prefab. So for each rock, you can be able to rotate and rescale them. So I placed like a few stones together to make a large rock group, and so does this like fence. The ROD groups is like really powerful attribute to get like better performance on the game. So it's you can see the camera. It gets the green. It goes if it's between in the green like range, it will like looks like it will appear with the highest quality. If it goes to the green one, it will has less quality, and if it goes to the red one, it will be like caught from the scene. You won't be able to see it. If I click that again, it shows up, disappear, shows up. So that's for the game engine. Also, I selected all my environments to be static. You can see this up corner, right up corner. I set it up to static to bake the lighting. These lightings on the ground are casted by the like directional light because they are not moving because they're not moving, so they don't need to cast shadows like for dynamic cast shadows dynamically. So I just like set them static and bake the light map for the terrain, so it will have this like lighting data in the game, so it doesn't need to calculate it once more when the game is running. So it like dramatically save a lot of works for the graphic card. And it's Troy. I was trying to add more like Japanese element in there, so I bought this for $5 on the asset store. So that's it for the game engine. After that, I complete importing my character, and for the character controls and the sound, footsteps and action and colliding. And here's my yeah, that's pretty much everything for this project. Yeah, thanks for watching.